Ian Garry may very well become the future of the UFC. The Irish fighter quickly made a name for himself by becoming the Cage Warriors welterweight champion. His dominance after 7 pro fights earned him a spot with the UFC. And although he faced adversity in his debut, he overcame it and finished his opponent by the end of round 1 with punches. This was a huge win for the now 24-year-old who believes that he is going to take over the sport. So how good is Ian Garry actually? Hey guys, it's Kiiyon and today I'm going to be talking about Ian the Future Garry. This is a video I wanted to make because much like former Cage Warriors featherweight champion Paddy Pimblett, Ian's UFC debut had a lot of hype surrounding it. And much like Paddy, he also faced adversity before finding the finish. Regardless, Ian has high hopes for his career as he believes he's going to take over like Conor McGregor did back in the day. Now, he has a lot of potential, but will it be enough to reach the top? So in this video, we're going to take a look at Ian's MMA career to really understand how good he is. But first, shout out to the undisputed members of my Patreon. They get the extra perk of a shout out before each video. But even the intro members get early access and video to the Kiiyon podcast. And as always, the money goes to charity. Now let's get to it. Ian began his MMA career as an amateur on November 19th, 2017 at the age of 20. His first opponent was Andreas Laxa. The two traded bombs early on, but it was Ian who connected with the cleaner shots. This included a left hand that knocked Andreas out cold. Ian picked up a submission win before fighting Andreas Binder. Ian was the aggressor on the feet for most of the fight, but Andreas secured multiple takedowns and did well in maintaining top control, except for when Ian reversed him with a Kimura and then went on to attempt a Darce choke. But Andreas survived, and by round 3, his takedowns began to get denied. This gave Ian some moments in the clinch, but after 3 rounds, it was Andreas who was awarded with the split decision. Regardless, Ian bounced back with the win before fighting Stephen Cunningham. Ian was dominant on the feet, in the clinch, and on the ground. The most trouble he was in was when Stephen attempted a heel hook, but apart from that, it was all Ian who got on top again in round 2 and threw punches from above that forced the ref to step in. Following this win, he fought Stephen Costello. This was a grueling fight both in the clinch and on the ground. But for the most part, Ian was finding more success, and in round 3, he threw ground and pound that forced the ref to step in. He picked up another win as an amateur before turning pro on February 16, 2019. In his debut, Ian fought James Sheehan. This fight was a war as the two went back and forth on the feet and on the ground. But overall, Ian was controlling the action with his superb striking. After 3 rounds, he won by unanimous decision. Following this win, Ian fought Matteo Seglia. Ian connected with many kicks in this fight, especially to the legs. This led to a head kick in round 2 that dropped Matteo, and this forced the ref to step in. At Cage Warriors 110, Ian fought Matthias Figlak. Ian secured a takedown early on and locked up a rear naked choke that put Matthias to sleep. 10 months later, he fought George McManus. Ian had his moments on the feet and also denied a takedown, which led to moments on the ground. Matthias kept the action competitive early on with strikes of his own. But by round 2, it was all Ian who came forward with a barrage of strikes, which ultimately led to the finish. At Cage Warriors 119, he fought Lawrence Tracy. Ian was dominant as he connected on the feet before securing a takedown, which led to the ground and pound finish. 3 months later, he fought Rostam Akman. Ian looked good in round 1 by controlling the action on the feet and on the ground. This led to him finishing the fight in round 2 with a nasty head kick. After this, Ian fought for the vacant Cage Warriors welterweight championship. His opponent was Jack Grant, but prior to this fight, Ian faced a lot of adversity as he tore his PCL. To make matters worse, his coach decided to kick him out of the gym 10 days prior to the fight due to a dispute over payment. Regardless, Ian put on an all-around performance that saw him as the aggressor with his striking and grappling. Credit to Jack for not going down, but by the end, Ian won by unanimous decision with 2 50-45s and 1 50-44. This win made him the new Cage Warriors welterweight champion, but this was his last fight with the promotion as he went on to sign with the UFC in July of 2021. He made his debut on UFC 268 in Madison Square Garden. His opponent was Jordan Williams. Early on, it was Jordan who was finding more success on the feet. Ian was unable to land any clean shots until the final 10 seconds when he connected with a counter right as well as a couple more rights that knocked Jordan out. There was 1 second remaining in the round. Despite the early adversity, this was an electric debut from Ian, who also said all the right things in his post-fight interview. He is determined to become the biggest Irish fighter since Conor McGregor. In fact, it seems like he wants to become the greatest fighter of all time. But will he be able to do it? So after going 8-0 in a career that saw him become the Cage Warriors welterweight champion, How good is Ian Garry actually? This guy's striking is next level. He is so confident on the feet that it seems like he has no fear whenever he goes into attack. He's calculated with what he throws, but he's not hesitant when he executes. He also throws with an array of combos, which adds to even more confusion for his opponents. The way he switches up from punching to kicking and vice versa means his opponents get battered all over, especially since every shot Ian throws has bad intentions behind them. His kicks are very effective, and that will definitely help in this age of MMA where attacking the legs is crucial. He's also good with his movement, which makes it difficult to hit him. But even if he does get hit, he has proven that he can take hard shots and still find a way to win. Overall, he is intimidating to go toe-to-toe with. And I think that will be the case for many UFC welterweights when they go up against him. If Ian is able to maintain that fearlessness on the feet while on the big stage, then I can definitely see him go far. But aside from his stand-up, his ground game is also dangerous, and I believe it will get even better. He does a ton of damage with ground and pound and is also able to finish the fight with submissions. Ian is able to secure takedowns, which will be very useful if he's having troubles on the feet. But he has been taken down before, which worries me because he is now in a division full of strong wrestlers. Will he be able to defend their takedowns or compete with them while on the ground? Yes, he has shown that he has some solid skills on the ground, but that was in Cage Warriors where the grapplers aren't as strong as they are in the UFC. But just because he's a striker in a grappling heavy division, it doesn't mean he won't find success. Take Stephen Thompson for example, who has been a top 170 pounder for years. And this is a guy who is also extremely good on the feet. Stephen was never able to become a champion, but had he developed a solid ground game, would the narrative have been different? Now we get to see that with Ian, who isn't primarily a ground fighter, but can definitely hold his own while there. And like I said, I think he will improve that aspect of his game. And the reason I believe this is because he is young and hungry. With him just turning 24, we haven't even seen him grace his full potential. So if he's looking this good already, I can only imagine how good he will look in a few years from now. And with Ian now training at Sanford MMA, he is in a much better gym with world-class fighters and trainers who will help him get to the next level. I'm also curious about his size because he is a huge welterweight, which makes me think he'll move up to 185 when he gets older, which may be the better division for him because there's not many wrestlers there. But for now, he is a young prospect with a lot of hype. And aside from his stellar performances, Ian says all the right things while on the mic. He speaks highly about himself as he believes he has what it takes to be the best ever, which is always exciting to see when a fighter does this, whether you like them or dislike them. Ian is raising the stakes by saying things like it's the takeover 2.0 in reference to fellow Irishman Conor McGregor. That statement alone is huge, and I'm sure there are many who are hoping to see him fail after hearing that. But will he be capable of going on a run like Conor's? I say that he is, especially with the mindset that he has. A mindset where he is manifesting greatness, which should reflect in the ways he trains and grows as a fighter. Overall, I can tell he takes fighting seriously. And aside from performing well in fights, he also showed that he can dominate for 5 rounds and can also overcome adversity. And that adversity also occurs outside of the cage, which Ian has proven does not deter him from reaching his goals. But even if he were to pick up a few defeats in the UFC, I believe he has what it takes to learn from those moments and come back stronger. Whatever path he goes on, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Ian Garry in the future. My name is Kiiyon, and this is my take on Ian the Future Garry. Do you agree, disagree, or have something else to add? Please put in the comments down below, because I love to read it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. But that's a lot for now, so I'll see you on my next one.